Take me anywhere that you want.
This mason jar is my most popular DIY to date.
And as long as the sun.
In this video, we're going to take a mason jar, some paint, paper napkins, and some glue, and we're going to make this gorgeous mason jar. I'm going to give you 3 tips to make this so easy. And number 2, guys, is kind of gross.
And as long as the sun.
Tip number 1, use DIY paint. It is a clay-based paint that will adhere to this glass no problem. No primer. It just goes on like butter. I'm just adding 1 coat here. I'm going to let it dry. Then I'm going to add a second coat. That's it. That's how easy it is. Now, if you're using a different brand of paint, you're going to have to check to make sure that it will go on glass. But I can guarantee you, if you're going to use DIY paint, it will work.
To escape, and I know
I got this napkin at a grocery store, but I've also gotten them at Etsy and even the dollar store. All right, tip number 2 is coming up. You need to remove that backing off this paper napkin. And to do that, you ready for it? You need to put a little spit between your fingers.
Yuck!
Yes, that's right. I said spit. Pinch the corner and peel that backing right off that napkin.
I feel no fear.
We don't need the whole napkin to put on this mason jar. So I'm going to give you tip number 3 right here. You're going to take a little brush and you're going to wet the end. And then you're just going to run that brush along where you want it to be, that cut line. And then gently pull it apart. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So now we're going to take some Mod Podge, and you can get this at your local craft store, but it's really thick and I want to water it down. So I'm going to add just a little bit to the plate here and then just add a little bit of water. I don't like to use my good brushes for glue, so I'm going to use a cheap chip brush. A cheap chip brush? Say that 10 times.
A cheap chip brush, a cheap chip brush, a cheap chip brush.
Anywho, so use your chip brush for this project. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to add the glue to the jar. Now the trick here is to make sure you cover everything that you want for the napkin to adhere. All right, make sure you get every spot. You don't want to use too much, and you don't want to use too little. You want to kind of be just like the 3 bears, right in the middle.
You hold me, all my wounds are healed.
Now you're going to take your gorgeous, look how gorgeous this napkin is, and you're going to just apply it to the jar. Being very careful you don't rip it, just gently pat it on. The next tip is coming up. I'm going to bring in my secret weapon. Are you ready? Saran wrap. That's right. Saran wrap. Now you can also use a plastic bag if you like. But what you're going to do is apply the saran wrap completely around the jar. This keeps your fingers from the jar because your fingers are what's going to make it rip and then get glue all over your hands. And who wants that? Well, I kind of like having glue on my hands. Were you ever that kid that had the glue on your hands and then let it dry and then peel it off? If so, tell me in the comments below, just so I know I'm not alone. Okay, there we go. Now listen, I just want to leave this and let it dry completely. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to distress this to make it look like it's been hanging around for a very long time.
care if we
That extra tissue along the bottom, let that dry, and then it'll stiffen up, and then you can just remove that very easily.
above us. Then I just wanna
So we're going to use a technique called wet distressing. And basically all that means is I'm going to take a damp cloth, use lint-free, generally I use a baby wipe, and I'm just going to rub it along the paint. Now it comes off so easily because DIY paint is water soluble. So as you can see here, it's just distressing it, and I love it because it makes it look like it's been hanging around. We're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and seal it. Oh, it is so pretty. So we're going to seal this with a Big Top, and that's from DIY as well. And any of the DIY products, if you're looking for them, you can get them and get more information on them on my website at iwantacraft.com. Now, I'm also just using a very cheap, inexpensive little brush that I got from the dollar store. And I'm just putting one coat on. Give it a good seal, let that dry, and you'll be good to go.
I know everything has an end, and I know that we are not getting any younger.
Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this video for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, give it a sub. And listen, in the comments below, let me know what you want to see me do next. I love a good challenge. All right, until next time, stay crafty.
I stand by you when you're falling, when the river is calling. I said I love you.